Hello and welcome. Today we're going to talk about Mercury Cazimi, which is exact tomorrow, Thursday, July 31st. I am doing this live because I didn't do it ahead of time. So welcome to the live if you're watching live, and welcome to the recording if you're joining later on. If you are watching live, do share where you're watching from. Otherwise, we're going to dive in and talk about this exciting Mercury Cazimi, which I think is the best transit of this week. We have some challenging energies with Venus entering Cancer today and immediately squaring Saturn and Neptune. So late July, early August might have this restrictive, friction-packed energy. Mercury is obviously still retrograde, so confusion might be dominating our thoughts. Before we dive in, as always, you know it already. If you're watching me regularly, please like and subscribe. You can like the live. It brings attention to it as well. If you enjoy my work, you can book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. On my website, you can also register for my natal astrology course. It's called Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul, and it begins on September 6th. So we're a little bit under a month away. And if you go to my website, I can actually share my screen to show you how to register and how to learn more about the course. Let me do this quick. So in order to do that, you're going to anastasiadoesastrology.com. The join my newsletter box might pop up, and services, it will be right here, Natal Astrology Blueprint of the Soul. So if you click on here, you can learn more about the dates. There are definitely spots available. It's still going to be a small class. I don't want it to be really big, but it's perfect for both people who are trying to become astrologers and for those who are interested in reading their own charts. And we'll be meeting for 3 months, twice a week, with weekends dedicated to focusing on theory. And then weekdays will be more about talking about what we've learned, homework, assignments, and things like that. So all of that is on my website. Additionally, as you know, I make candles. This is the Exalted Moon, really good for relaxation, manifestation, and all the good things. Okay, thank you for listening. Let me see what you guys are saying. SB asking how I'm doing. I'm well. Thank you for asking. You are a Leo rising. That's awesome. And Edward says, thank you for sharing your gifts and your hard work. I am happy to. I really appreciate when you guys give me good feedback as well. Okay, let's dive into the Mercury Cazimi. When I start going through the rising signs, if you have any thoughts, if you want to share what your Mercury retrograde has been like, please do. I think it's really helpful to hear in terms of what is it like and how people are doing. So Mercury Cazimi is the moment the Sun and Mercury conjoin. The exact conjunction. 9 degrees, Mercury is at 9 degrees. Normally is a distance away from the Sun, even if it's, let's say, at 8 degrees, 7 degrees, or after the Sun, 10, 11, etc., it is considered to be combust, meaning the Sun's light is so bright, you cannot see the other planet, right? The Sun takes over, the Sun overpowers. So it is weakened when it is combust. However, when Mercury is within 15 minutes, according to the more conservative opinions, or according to more loose opinions, sometimes a degree, so between 8 and 10 degrees, it is considered to be in the heart of the Sun, which is what Cazimi means. So I look at it more as like 15 minutes. So we'd say from about like 8 minutes, 45 degrees to 9 minutes, 15 degrees, right? 8 degrees, 45 minutes to 9 degrees, 15 minutes. So 15 on each side. It is considered to be Cazimi. And what Cazimi means is that the Sun and Mercury, and Cazimi could happen for any planet, but we're talking about Mercury Cazimi, they are in the sun's chambers, right? They are kissing or consulting. So Mercury is standing in the same place as the sun. And so it has more power versus being burned up by the sun. So when Mercury is Cazimi, one might expect insights, good news, breakthroughs, revelations, and depth of understanding. The exact Cazimi, as you can see here, happens on July 31st this year, so tomorrow, at 7:41 p.m. Eastern. So that is the perfect exact moment. However, you feel it 4 hours before, 4 hours after. So convert it for your time zone, but basically from around like 3:30 p.m. Eastern time until 11:30 p.m. Eastern time, with the exact moment being the 7:41. And as you can tell here, it happens at 9 degrees Leo, which means people with planets at 9, but also 3 degrees before and after, 6 to 12 degrees Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio may experience the biggest revelations and the biggest insights. What's important about this Mercury Cazimi is that we are in the middle of Mercury retrograde, right? So Mercury has been moving backwards, creating chaos and confusion, disruptions, delays. I had my air conditioner died, so here I am in the heat, crazy scorching heat of summer without the air conditioner. My iMac, which is another computer I use, has died, turned on once briefly, but hasn't been able to turn on. So share your Mercury retrograde stories. How has it been for you? So the Cazimi is the turning point. It is considered to be the half point of the retrograde. From here, we're starting to move closer to the truth, one might say. And so let me see if you guys have anything to share at this point. Otherwise, we're going to look at the 12 rising signs to give you insight on what this might be about. Nick says, my Mars is in Leo, 8 degrees in the 8th house. Yeah, so the Cazimi is happening right next to your Mars, which might be about expressing this Mars, right? It might be Mars deals with anger. So the Cazimi might be about you telling someone how their actions affect you. It could be about self-expression, because Mars is also about going after our desires. So with Mercury Cazimi, there might be insights about your desires and about what's of value to you. Even passion, relationships, sexuality, I can see here. Hi, Mystic Road, Virgo rising. So obviously Virgo rising, Gemini rising are ruled by Mercury. So your chart ruler going through a process of rebirth, conjoining the sun, should be important. Okay, so we're going to look at the 12 rising signs. I do ask that if you have any thoughts on what this might be coming up for you, what this might be bringing for you, do let me know. Otherwise, I am going to start with Aries rising. I am going to start also, let me see what I can do. I want to take timestamps because otherwise there's no way of knowing. Let me do this. Second. And if you're around and you have any stories to share about Mercury retrograde affecting you, please let me know while I set up a system for myself to get timestamps going. Okay. Hi, Jazz, another Libra rising. We have Ian from Slovenia, Leo rising. How awesome. Hi, Mike. I am live indeed again. You're saying I'm freezing up. Can you guys see me well? Nick says, thanks. Yes, all of those things. So I need to express them more. Yes, I think you should express them more. So like anger, frustration, things like that. Mike says, Libra rising, this Mercury retrograde has been pretty mild. Thank goodness. Good for you. For me, everything. Like I've had my Instagram account stolen. Yesterday, I got a message from Amazon about someone making a purchase with my account and my ex-friend's credit card, which is very 11th house, friends and accounts. And I met a different older friend. There's been technological glitches. It's a lot. Ian says, I have found missed bills. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Jazz says, I had my birth time wrong. I just found out I was a Libra rising 2 weeks ago instead of Virgo rising. Oh, wow. Okay, that's like, that's an important shift. Do you have any planets in Virgo that would have explained why Virgo rising seemed to make sense? Hi, Julie James. Okay, I think I'm going to start. And if you have any feedback as we're going through these signs, do let me know. So we're starting with Aries rising. For Aries risings, Mercury Cazimi is happening in the 5th house, the house of romance, pleasure, joy, parenthood, and children. Mercury Cazimi on some level is a conception of something. Could this be a literal child? Yes. It could be about a conception of a child. It could be about a conception of a creative project, new beginning, right, of some sort, new hobby, new writing, new communication project, even a new skill set that you maybe want to be learning. The sun rules your 5th house. Mercury rules your 3rd house of hobbies and interests, as well as your 6th house of work, health, and service. So maybe it's a passion project that requires a lot of time and effort, but you don't mind because you feel inspired and driven to do it anyways. Maybe you've always loved astrology and you decide to sign up for a course, right? Shameless plug. I am teaching a course. You can register at Anastasia.astrology.com, an astrology course, of course. But maybe you like dancing and you decide to take dancing to the next level. You start competing. There may be some good news or insights or important conversations about children or with children, with partners. Interesting developments creatively, good news about a creative project that you're maybe working on. This can also feel like a relationship from the past coming into your life. Mercury has been retrograde in your 5th house of sex and pleasure. So maybe it's an insight about an old partner, an old relationship, even your romantic sort of tendencies, right? Your fears and your challenges in love that can be coming up as well. If anyone is an Aries rising, do share. Julie James says, talk about Mercury retrograde. My daughter is having a meltdown over her iPad that won't charge. Yeah, I feel her pain. I still have photos on my iMac that I am not sure if they've been backed up, and my iMac wouldn't turn on. It turned on once and I backed up a bunch of stuff, but I only backed it up till like 2014 and we're in 2025. So I feel her pain. Okay, that was Aries rising. Moving on to Taurus rising. For Taurus rising, Mercury Cazimi is happening in the 4th house. So here we're looking at the house of comfort and security, the house of home, family, living situation, childhood, parents, connections to the past. And so this could be, Mercury has been retrograde in the 4th house for Taurus risings, and maybe there was a sense of rethinking something looking at moving back, or even looking at the past, at the childhood, maybe thinking of some relationships with parents, and some matters connected to like helping parents. And so Mercury Cazimi could be a turning point that could bring a development when it comes to property. Let's say someone is looking to sell their home, or they're looking to move, or they're in the middle of like a renovation project. Mercury Cazimi can symbolize a positive development, good news. There can also be a revelation about the past, about childhood. So an opportunity to heal something, to move on from the past. Maybe you are in therapy, right? And you're discovering something. Maybe you're thinking of starting a family, fourth house being connected to family. This could also be an insight about your family and like your child or your relationship with your children, things like that. The sun, of course, rules your fourth, and Mercury rules your second and fifth houses. So here we have values around family, values around children, values even around like investments, values of like creating financial stability, I can see here. But I like this for having important conversations with family members, and perhaps maybe looking back at the past and feeling nostalgic, or feeling forgiving, right? There is somewhat of a nice energy here represented by this Cazimi. That was Taurus rising. Moving on to Gemini rising. For Gemini risings, Mercury is, of course, your chart ruler. So Mercury joining the sun is significant because it's the chart ruler that has been retrograde, that maybe suggested a certain confusion in your life. Conjoining the sun, experiencing this moment of revelation in the middle of retrograde, and offering insightful conversations, right? Third house is the place of the mind. It's the place of communication, writing, scheduling, business, travel. So the sun and Mercury together, insights about things outside and within you. This could be a realization that the way you think about certain things is self-defeating. Like I said, like sort of an inner realization where you choose to start maybe putting positive affirmations on your mirror in the bathroom, or you choose to start saying them to yourself. This could be an important conversation with a sibling or a neighbor, which are also ruled by the third house. Mercury rules you. It rules your sense of self. It rules your fourth house of home, family, and living situation. Can you be making decisions about a move, about relocation, about property and real estate, right? And maybe having some important conversations dealing with logistics. Even like, third house Mercury Cazimi could be about like making a home look beautiful, like using your hands, using your knowledge, using your ideas to beautify the surroundings before you sell a home or move to a different property, something like that. Developments in the life of a sibling, maybe good news from an exam, because third house can also rule exams and clients and business. So some kind of communication that allows you to grow your business, that allows you to learn a new skill and embrace something new, right? Like embrace new technology, new software, and newness. But yeah, like it's I think, you're a Gemini, you're ruled by Mercury. And Mercury is in Leo, it's retrograding. It's like, how can you use your charming, skillful personality and your ability to use languages with Uranus also in your first house to change your life and to to own your skills and to be like a Leo about it, to be proud and confident. And like, maybe it's about starting a business. Maybe it's about starting a blog. Maybe it's about moving to a new place, right? There's a lot of possibilities, but the big question is like, how can you be more you and more happy? I hope this resonates. Do share if you have any thoughts. A reminder that I am teaching a course. So for those of you that are interested, register on my website, Anastasia Does Astrology. So next we have Cancer rising. For Cancer rising, Mercury Cazimi highlights the house of money and values. And of course, the sun rules the second house, Mercury rules the 12th and the 3rd. And so this could mean, of course, good news about financial matters. Maybe your student loans get forgiven, or you get a bonus, or there is some kind of financial opportunity. Mercury is retrograding, so you are being very pensive, very introspective and thoughtful about finances. And maybe you're realizing where your spending needs to be adjusted, or you're also discovering new investments and thinking about financial investments you can make, but also maybe investments in yourself, right? Because Mercury rules the 12th house of spirituality and your 3rd house of hobbies and interests. And when it comes together with the sun, there might be this strong realization around, this is who I am, this is what I want, and I'm going to be unapologetically truthful about it. I'm not going to put baby in the corner because nobody puts Cancer rising baby in the corner, right? Jupiter is in your 1st house. Granted, it's dealing with a square to Saturn. Venus is about to deal with a square to Saturn and Neptune. So, and Mercury is retrograde. So it's about moving slowly, but it's also about connecting to what is of true worth to you. And this could be about money, because 2nd house is money, but it could also be about self-worth, self-expression, investing in yourself, and maybe also coming up with new ideas. Mercury Cazimi in the 2nd could be quite inspirational, I think, for money-making ideas, investments. I wouldn't recommend taking action on those investments. It is best to hold off until Mercury goes direct on August 11th. So we're almost there. Be patient. So that's Cancer rising. I know there are quite a few Leo risings watching. So for Leo rising, we have Mercury Cazimi in the 1st house, and this is all about you. This is all about identity and self-expression and health, body, image, personal goals, right? Mercury rules your house of community and new dreams and social media, and it rules your house of money and values. So Mercury has been retrograde in your 1st house. How has it been? Leo risings, do share. Has it brought up questions around your style, around your look, around your health? Maybe a realization that you should take better care of your body, right? Maybe some kind of insight that, hey, I need to exercise more. Or, hey, maybe I need to start using sunscreen. So whatever it's been bringing up, the Cazimi could be an important moment of realization and insight, deeper self-understanding. This could be about your look and your style, where you're realizing that the way you dress no longer fits you and maybe you want to change it. I wonder too, with this by sign opposition to Pluto, maybe it's about understanding of self in regards to a relationship, with Pluto being in your 7th house, bringing up some important relationship questions. Maybe it's allowing you to see yourself better, because sometimes when we face a certain situation in a relationship, it's like, oh, I didn't even realize this was important to me until now. So important revelations around what matters to you, especially I think with that Mercury ruling the second house, but also maybe new dreams, maybe new social opportunities, maybe with Uranus, especially in the 11th, right? Uranus is a change maker, a Promethean character. So there could be this sense of like embracing your unique qualities and maybe connecting with your desire to make a change in the world, and then finding inner power to speak up, to express yourself and to shine your light. If you are a Leo rising, do share. Let me know how this resonates, how this describes you potentially. Otherwise, we will keep moving on. But do let me know if this resonates. Virgo rising is next. For Virgo rising, Mercury Cazimi is happening in the 12th house, the private, the dark house, the invisible realm of mental health, spirituality, self-defeating tendencies, blind spots, right? So here we have insights about your self-defeating tendencies potentially, right? Mercury has been retrograding in your 12th since July 18th. And maybe it revealed your self-doubt. Maybe it revealed your tendency to doubt. Yeah, it's the same thing, tendency to doubt yourself. But like, 12th house self-defeating tendencies can be big and small. They can be little things like scrolling on your phone till like 11 p.m. and then not getting enough sleep, or they can be much bigger, where as a Virgo rising, you have Leo in your 12th house. And I feel like 12th house being this invisible place and Leo being the sign of confidence and exuberance and vitality and like authenticity, there might often be a sense that you don't see it in yourself. So it could be, like I said, as big as discovering inner confidence and working on letting go of insecurities and fears, and like acknowledging that you deserve to be a star in whichever way you'd like to be a star. Mercury is your chart ruler, so it's definitely really important for Virgo rising because your chart ruler is going through a rebirth, and it also rules your 10th house of career. So very important topics, right? So I think the self-defeating tendencies around career, around identity might be coming up. But it's not all dark in the 12th house. 12th house, also the place where we connect with our spiritual self, where we discover new interests that are maybe harder to verbalize. Oftentimes people with strong 12th house placements, myself included, tend to discover astrology or yoga or meditation. So could it be that you're not just dealing with self-doubt, but you're also connecting with something intangible that is maybe harder to put a finger on, and you're helping yourself, but maybe even helping other people in the professional way because of Mercury's connection to your midheaven. So it could also be about new creative ideas, right? 12th house is this place where it's literally the house that's on the ascendant when the mother is in labor. And so the creative, the birthing pains are in the 12th house, right? Like, could you be getting ready to birth something because the sun will go into Virgo on August 22nd, and we're going to get a new moon in Virgo on the 23rd, and then an eclipse in September. So what is it that you're birthing? My lovely Virgo risings, do share. And mates, I'm curious, would love to hear from you guys. Otherwise, we're gonna keep moving on. If you are a Libra rising, for Libra rising, Mercury Cazimi happens in the 11th house. The house, friendships, networks, hopes and dreams, media. So Mercury has been retrograde here since July 18th, right? For almost 2 weeks. And it could have been a need to rethink friendships, rethink your social involvements, your relationships with other people, even some of your social media accounts, right? This might be personal, but with people like hacking into my Instagram account and then into my Amazon account within like days from each other. And me being a Libra rising, I'm definitely rethinking changing all of my passwords so I don't have to deal with this anymore. But this could be, it could be about your social media accounts and your friendships. And the Cazimi is, of course, this powerful moment of insight. And so in the house of friendships, there could be an opportunity to connect with someone, to conceive a new partnership, even though it's backwards, right? So it's a new old partnership. Maybe it's an opportunity to restart a relationship with a friend. Maybe it's an opportunity to bring back an old dream, an old ideal. In the 11th house, we're thinking of our own ability to shine for other people and empower other people. And we're also thinking about people that we gravitate towards to shine their light and to guide us. Leo is your 11th house with the sun ruling it. And I wonder if you tend to meet and befriend characters that are solar, grand, tall, big somehow. And Mercury rules your 12th house and your 9th house. So again, sort of like meeting people who are guides and teachers and mentors, or becoming a guide, teacher, and mentor, helping people get through the murky waters of the 12th house and the darkness that they might be facing. So good news around leadership, being a leader, social opportunities, partnerships, projects that have some kind of past undertone. All of that seems possible to me. And do share, Libra risings that are watching. I'd be curious to hear what this is, if this is speaking to you. And if it is, what do you think this might be? And it's okay also if you don't yet know, because sometimes it takes time and, we're not yet in the Cazimi window. We have, of course, been in the retrograde window for a while. So do share. Next, we have Scorpio rising. For Scorpio rising, Mercury Cazimi is happening in the 10th house of career, status, reputation, and public life. And this feels like an opportunity to deliver a message in a public context. Speak up, shine, roar, whatever is necessary. If it is to defend yourself and say, this is wrong, this isn't fair, this is how I want to be treated, or if it is about sharing a new idea that will depend on each person and their chart. There may be breakthroughs and insights about your career, but not just career, right? Like 10th house is the public house. And so it's anything from career to thinking of like, this is what is of value to me. This is what I want to be doing. This is how I want to be seen. So realizations, maybe looking back at an old job and being like, oh, I actually missed that job. Or looking back at something you used to do when you were young and also thinking like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to do that professionally? So some important revelations, interesting conversations with bosses, good news coming from bosses as well. Mercury rules your 11th house of friendships, networks, hopes, and dreams, and your 8th house of debts, loans, shared finances. Could you be getting a promotion? Could you be getting a raise or a bonus? Some type of positive thing, or maybe an opportunity to do work that is more social, that puts you in front of other people and allows you to speak in public more, right? Some type of like opportunity to shine your light, whether it is because you're standing up for yourself or because you're exploring new passions. Do share, Scorpio rising. Next, we have Sagittarius rising. For Sagittarius rising, Mercury Cazimi is activating and shining light on your 9th house of education, travel, writing, publishing, and legal matters. Could there be a book idea here or some type of creative idea that you maybe are thinking about expressing? 9th house is the place of growth. It's the place of adventure. It's the place where we go out of our comfort zone and we follow something bigger than us, right? 9th house is often understood through opposition to the 3rd house, which is your stomping ground. It's your local environment. And for those of you who want to know more about all of this and the houses and the signs and the planets, join my natal astrology course. It begins in September and it's going to change your life and open you to new insights about yourself and people in your life. So 9th house is the house of astrology, right? And so the Cazimi here could be about opening yourself up to something new or committing to something old, right? Realizing that you actually want to go back to school, or you want to go back to an old idea, or even reconnect with an old teacher because you felt like they've been inspiring and supporting you. So a conception of like new creative idea, conception of writing a writing project, right? Maybe even opportunities to move. If you're someone who like is waiting on a visa or you're planning a trip, Mercury Cazimi could bring an insight and the visa coming through, right? And maybe an opportunity to travel. Mercury rules your 7th house of relationships and your 10th house of career. So that's interesting too, because this might be bringing together this energy of like writing or travel or teaching together with work and partnerships. So doing that professionally, doing that in partnership with someone else, like you go and you start living out of a van, right? I don't know. You take a school bus and you turn it into a camper bus or something, or like a car that you can live in, and you go travel the world and you share all of this on YouTube and you grow, I don't know, somehow that way. So something that unites adventure with career and with relationships. Maybe you're moving and moving for love, and then that is changing your career as well. So there's definitely exciting opportunities here. Do share if this resonates. I can also see this as like going to a church and having some kind of religious experience, or going to a theater and having an eye-opening, like inspirational type of experience. Kieran, hi Kieran. Kieran says, fingers crossed I get offered a position at my job, Scorpio rising. Extremely spot on for me. That's exciting. Indeed, yes. You do have Mercury Cazimi in your 10th house, and you also have Jupiter currently doing a little bit of like sprinkling, being a fairy godmother to you. So hopefully all of that is enough. And do share for the rest of you if this is resonating, or if there is anything that you'd like to add. I would always be happy to know. Lana Louise says, Taurus, Scorpio moon, it's been tough. I'm praying for a new job offer and a new love. Well, I wish you good luck both in the professional and romantic sectors. We have an empowered Jupiter right now that can be helping. What is your rising sign, though, Lana? Because Taurus is probably your sun sign, right? And Scorpio is the moon sign. Constant Growth 7 says, sounds interesting. I just chimed in, but that book action is something I'm definitely interested in. Pisces rising. Lana Louise says, Leo rising. Okay. And love your readings. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm glad to hear you love my readings. Yeah, so Jupiter is in your 12th house right now. It's probably encouraging you to go within and to trust. Also, like, work on trust and developing your intuition, developing kind of like inner gifts potentially. So let's talk about Capricorn rising. For Capricorn rising, Mercury Cazimi is activating your 8th house. Debts, loans, finances, partnerships with other people, shared resources, shared work on something. So there might be good news around all of that, right? A loan getting approved, a debt being forgiven, a mortgage coming through, a partner stepping up and helping you with something, or a bonus, some kind of positive financial influx, a return on investment as well. Partnerships, right? If something has been feeling unfair in a relationship, 8th house may often bring up, like in the 8th, it's shining light on what your dynamics with other people are and whether they feel authentic and rewarding. And Leo is the sign of the self and the ego, and making sure we're not getting scammed, right? Or we're not getting taken advantage of. So I think here there might be some kind of deep insight around that, a conversation that makes you feel more supported, literally some support coming through from other people. 8th house is also the place of mysteries because it's another dark house. So we don't always see things that are happening in the 8th. And so there might be an interest in something spiritual here, something that you're like, oh, I really like tarot. I've always been getting readings. Let me maybe get my own deck, right? Or, oh, I've always loved astrology. I'm going to study astrology. Something like that, right? If you're looking for a teacher, I'm available. My class begins in September. Healing potential is here as well. 8th house is the place of death and rebirth. So healing and seeing a reason in loss, or seeing just sort of finding deeper forgiveness, right? Seeing kind of making sense of things that don't always make sense. Mercury rules your 6th house and your 9th house. So here we have also matters around work and maybe fairness at work. And 9th house is connected to religion, spirituality, philosophy. So and also education, right? So again, could be about like learning something, maybe investing into education, addressing unfairness, or finding spirituality and leaning on spirituality as a source of support. I hope this resonates. If you're a Capricorn rising, do share. Otherwise, we will move on. And if you're watching the replay, please still share. And here we go. This is the chart. This is the exact chart for Mercury Cazimi, 7:41 p.m. Eastern, 3:41 p.m. Pacific, or adjust it for your time zone. Aquarius is next. For Aquarius, Mercury Cazimi is happening in the 7th house, and this is relationships, partnerships, negotiations, contracts, agreements. Mercury has been retrograding here since July 18th. Could have brought miscommunications in relationships, could have brought confusion, could have brought exes coming back, maybe coming back one step forward, 2 steps back, disappearing. Someone ghosting you, or some kind of negotiation that seemed to be going forward until mid-July happened, the retrograde began, and everything slowed down. Well, Mercury Cazimi could for sure bring positive developments and forward momentum in this sector. It could bring insightful, empowering conversation with your partner, maybe better understanding in a relationship, opportunity to be more vulnerable, opportunity to speak up about what is of value to you and what truly matters to you. Mercury rules your 8th house of shared finances. Could you be talking about money? Could you be talking about future investments? It also rules your 5th house of children and pleasure and sex, right? So conversations about all of those topics, things that maybe are less and not always super easy to talk about. In a sense that 7th house is also connected to business. If you've been waiting on an email from a client or some kind of business deal, business matter, this could also be moving forward. Of course, we're still in the retrograde, right? So it's a turning point. It's a point of insight, but don't take action. Don't pull the plug quite yet. So developments in business, developments in contracts, any kind of negotiations, even your relationships and your partnerships with your landlord or your boss, business associate, your maybe accountant, whoever it might be, there is opportunity to kind of hash things out and discuss them. And if you are dealing with an ex, or if you're dealing with someone from your past, this could also be about like, oh, maybe I really want to give this another shot, or like, oh, maybe I was just being lonely and this person, and I was right the first time I told this person to leave me alone. Do share, Aquarius risings, how this resonates. Let's move on to Pisces rising. For Pisces rising, Mercury Cazimi is happening in the 6th house, the house of work, health, and service. And so this feels like maybe there is a health matter that you're coming back to from the past, something that you have thought were done, but isn't quite done. Maybe there is a home and living situation, a project in the home that you're dealing with Mercury ruling your 4th house, or a relationship conversation that involves mundane, everyday things that are actually really, really important, right? When you fall in love, nobody really talks about who's going to take out the garbage or do the dishes or buy toilet paper, but all of that is really important because that is the foundations of your life, and you need to take care of those foundations. So this could bring conversations and insights around that, and as well as health and work. Mercury Cazimi in the 6th house of work might be about realizing that a situation is toxic, or an environment is unhealthy, or the way you approach the situation is unhealthy. And so maybe with this introspective Mercury retrograde energy, this is your opportunity to let something go or talk to your colleagues, right? 6th house rules even people who work under you, like asking for help, asking for people to like show you some support and lend a helping hand. But yeah, health-wise, going back to like a physical therapist that you used to go to, or a doctor, or dealing with a health issue that you haven't fully healed. It could be a really insightful time, and it could bring even honestly, this could be like some kind of like health matter that you thought was like really small, but then you go in and you realize like, oh, I actually need to take care of it, and thank God I noticed it now because it's an easy fix. But if I would have let it keep going, it would have turned thing. So could be a good time to visit a doctor workload at work, or talk to your partner about duties around the home and things like that. So that's my take on Pisces. It's crazy how I feel like lives always take significant than when I do otherwise, but I like them because I get to interact with you guys, and because it saves me some time actually, because it sort of goes straight and uploads to YouTube without any extra steps. So thank you for watching. I am going to wrap up. Again, for anyone seeking for personal guidance or to study astrology, check out my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com, and watch more of my videos. Press the like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and I will see you soon in the next video. Okay, bye everyone. Enjoy your Mercury Cazimi.